Welcome to the Aceman, everybody. It's time to go behind the funny. This is Scott Higgins.
And this is Ace Aceto.
And thank you for joining us. Thank you for downloading us. Thank you for subscribing. We appreciate it so very much. And if you have a moment, please give us that 5-star written review wherever you download your podcast. It's a great way to help the podcast. If you want to help us out another way, tell a friend. We all learn about podcasts from our friends' recommendations, and that's a way you can help us out by recommending us to a friend.
And the last way, if you really enjoy the show, is to go to our Patreon page and become a patron. And that is at www.patreon.com/behindthefunny. And what that will get you, it's one simple giving level, $5 a month. That will get you a t-shirt or a mug, some sort of merchandise, as well as unlocking bonus content that only our patrons can access.
Thank you so much for supporting us. If you want to reach out, you got a question for us, you got a comment, anything, please send us an email at behindthefunnypod@gmail.com.
And now, enjoy the show.
Be careful. He's
and Scott Higgins, both of them coked up out of their minds.
Listen to you. He's down in the basement. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I think we should call this the Acement.
The Acement, yes.
Yeah, what do you think there, huh?
I like that. The Acement Studios.
Excuse me, I'm drinking beer. Hold on a second.
We usually drink bourbon on our end.
Yeah,
when we
right.
do the podcast, so
That's all right.
feel free to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You shoot an 8-ball if you want. We don't care, as long as it's good stories.
And the train of Scott-tober continues to roll along.
Chugging right along.
Yeah,
That's right.
And I haven't jumped off onto the tracks yet.
Not yet.
But you never know, because my co-host, my best friend, continues to book amazing guests like we have tonight.
Yes, I did.
And hopefully, because he has not told me yet, our bourbon date, our drink date this week is going to be somebody that's going to help chill my nerves and prepare me for evening of amazing paranormal stories.
All right. Are you ready?
Well, you've been keeping me in suspense for
I know,
an
you're
hour.
You're like, there's no glasses. Do we need to go
There's no
get glasses?
There's nothing.
No, you don't need glasses.
Because we
'Cause
have.
Get ready.
He has been keeping to a theme this month.
We're keeping to the paranormal theme.
He's done very well.
And the glasses will give away what we're drinking.
Oh, check it out.
I don't know if you can see that on Facebook Live. You obviously can't see
There's
it if you're
skulls
watching.
with the top of the skull missing.
Yep. If you're listening,
Some vodka.
we've got some crystal skull or crystal head vodka. Actually endorsed and made by a big person in the paranormal world, more around UFOs, Dan Aykroyd.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe I'll work on trying to get him to come on next year and talk a little bit about this.
I forgot that he was behind that. Yeah.
So,
oh my God, we drink.
Get ready.
We drink very much vodka.
I don't know if we should be doing Russian accents tonight with a war going on, but
Yeah, true. I apologize.
That's all right.
But it's not a bourbon date.
No, it's not a bourbon date.
It is something that will settle my nerves.
And I'm telling you right now, this is the coolest friggin' bottle I've ever seen.
Very nicely done.
So, Clinkies, my friend.
Clinkies.
And I don't even drink vodka, but I am tonight.
Ooh, that's very smooth.
It is.
Doesn't have that sharpness of
No,
vodka.
and it's because it's been filtered a million times. And if I get Dan Aykroyd on here next year, he'll talk all about it.
If you guys have not
I've
tried
heard
it
him.
before, if you're a vodka drinker, I would recommend this. I'm not a big vodka drinker, but this is very good.
Yeah,
This is
Crystal
very,
Head.
very good. And consider that bottle gone by the end of this episode because Ace has booked an amazing guest that, my God, his resume when it comes to paranormal is, we're going to get into it, and I'll let you introduce him, Ace.
So I've been a fan of this person's for a long time. I've actually been a Facebook friend for a long time, like years, and never got a chance to meet him. passed by him while he was gassing up at a gas station once, and I messaged him.
Counts.
I don't know if he remembers that,
That
but
counts.
I messaged him. I go, "Hey, were you just gassing up on Route 44?" And he was on his way to an investigation. He's probably like, "Who is this clown that fucking texted me in the middle of the?" But you may recognize him. He is big in the paranormal world, but you may also recognize him because he was a regular on Ghosthunters and then was chosen, or I don't know, maybe he chose, we'll get more into it, to be part of the cast of Ghosthunters International, which, you know, before we went live, we were talking. If you've listened to the show, you know how big a history buff Scott is. And so imagine, you know, paranormal investigations in the U.S. You know, you're going back a couple of hundred years. You're going across to, you know, Spain and Italy and France and Transylvania. You're going thousands of years back.
Yeah.
So that is it's going to be a great episode. So welcome to Behind the Funny for the month of Scottober, Mr. Joe Chin. There he is.
Hey, Joe.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm going to make
Glad to
you
be
bigger.
here.
So I hope I did you justice on the. Do you remember that getting a random Facebook message from some idiot while you were at a gas station like 10 years ago?
I was on 44 and I got that link. I'm like, hey, somebody's asking me if I'm on 44.
Who the hell is this idiot stalking me?
I was going to say, Ace, this is Joe Chin. Do you know how often that happens to him?
Yeah, I know. No, but it was because I had friended you, and then I saw you a couple of times because, you know, I live a mile up from the Payne house, and so I had seen you doing investigations there. Like you crossed in front of me once. I sound like such a stalker right now.
You
I
do.
know.
You're
I
fanboying
apologize,
out
Joe.
right
I'm
now.
fanboying. No.
It's kind of weird, but it happens. You know? People cry. I'm like, why are you crying?
Well, and that's one of the things that's got to come with being on TV and doing what you do is your fans are very passionate people that are into, you know, paranormal investigation, paranormal studies. So when they get to meet someone like you that they've watched on TV and watch these investigations, some of those moments have to be big for these people.
Yeah.
So they have trouble composing themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I almost flipped a Yui and went to the gas station, but I'm like, what am I going to put, $2 in? My gas tank was full, so I would have looked really
Yeah, you're sitting there
creepy.
with it shutting off every 10 cents.
I was
Clicking every- Yeah. No, so but then it happened that, you know, and we've talked a little bit about it, and later on this month we're going to have Ken DaCosta on,
Yes.
with Tom Stewart, who Tom, our third chair, is sick tonight. He's got a little head cold, so he couldn't make it. But you know, we got to meet you when we did the Payne House investigation about a month ago. So, you know, that's when we hit Joe up and we said, hey, we'd love to have you on our podcast. So we really can't thank you enough for being on.
Oh, you're welcome.
So we found out because he's also a former fellow graduate with another friend of the show, Mr. Mike Murray.
Oh,
our
don't give
buddy
Mike a plug.
Hey,
Don't give Mike a plug.
We love Mike. We love Mike. But yeah, so you grew up in Providence?
Yeah. I
And-
grew up in Providence, and I went to Gilbert Stewart Middle School, and then I went to Central High School.
Yep. And then Central High School. And so what got you into paranormal, you know, the paranormal world? Did you have an experience as a child that made you?
Yes, actually, I believe our house was haunted when we were kids.
Really?
I come from a very large family, 11 kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 6 boys, 5 girls, and my parents had a restaurant at the time, and we lived in Providence in a 3-tenement house. And when everybody would go off to work, there'd be just a few kids home. And we would always hear like running up in the 3rd floor, like there should be nobody upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening? So you go up there and you check it out, and there's nothing. And then you come back down, and then you would hear a door slam or a window shut. I think, well, it's not really breezy.
Yeah, right.
And check it out. And being Asian, you're not supposed to pay attention to things of that nature. Just ignore it; it'll go away. If you bother it, it'll bother you.
Really?
So we just shrugged it off, and it wasn't until I was a salesman at a computer store where I met Jason and Grant,
Mm-hmm.
and they were buying the things for me, and that's how I found out that people did this sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
So it was something that you weren't afraid of when you heard these things, or and you, like you said, the footsteps or the window and stuff like that? It wasn't, like a lot of other people would be like, all right, I'm moving, that's good. I don't need to bother with this. You were like, I wonder what that is. So you go upstairs and you look, and it didn't scare you.
It did scare us, but
Okay.
luckily, with so many kids around, you all huddled together.
Oh, all right. I didn't know if you had to draw straws like, you're going up, Joey.
Send Joe. He likes to check this stuff out. We'll stay down here.
The young kids forward.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Put the youngest kid up. Wow. So you were working at a computer store, and Jason and Grant, what were they were buying like equipment from the store?
I was on the sales floor selling laptops and computers. And then this one time I got this gentleman asked me all kinds of questions about what kind of computer is good for this, what kind of computer is good for that. So I started recommending things. And he said, well, I kind of want you as my salesman after a while. He had me coming in. And he said, because you tell me what I would need and not oversell me. You were honest. And you weren't like out to make a buck just because you want to sell the biggest and greatest thing. You kind of tailored your equipment to the customer. So that's what I was taught.
Yeah, right. So you become more valuable to the customer, and then they're going to be a repeat customer if you're not trying to oversell them.
I appreciate it, and I want you as my salesman.
Yeah.
So after months and years a year go by, they were buying more equipment, and I said, well, what are you guys doing with the stuff? I appreciate the sales because it's my paycheck.
Right.
Then that's what he told me. He says, we're going to be doing a TV show in Rhode Island. I'm like, wow, it's kind of a small state. What are you going to film in Rhode Island? And he says, we're going to look for ghosts in people's houses. And I was like, what? Look for ghosts in people's houses? That people do that? He said, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's how I learned. And then he would talk about it more and more. He invited me to the TAPS office. He says, we got an office where we like to have our fans come and watch, and you can listen to some of the things that we catch. And I did. He's been coffee and donuts and sit there and eagerly wait. And then I would start hearing the AVPs and seeing videos. And I'm like, oh, that you're not kidding. That stuff is real.
Right.
And then it brings back all that memories from being a kid in that house. And like, wow, I wasn't crazy. And things are out there.
Right. So they had already established TAPS before that. They were just buying equipment because they were doing the TV show.
Yes, yeah. They were well established. I actually joined TAPS for about a year before getting on Ghosthunters.
Okay.
And be an investigator from scratch and learn everything.
Right.
So I did it the right way, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another. We became friends. And at his Halloween party, his favorite holiday, we would get invited. And then he was on the phone. He says, Joe, come here. And he says, I have Ellie on the phone, and they want to know if you'd be interested. And then he hands me the phone. What?
Wow.
That's what I got asked, yeah.
That must have been amazing.
Amazing. Glad I took it. Time of my life.
Yeah.
Never geared up for anything in the world.
So first it was just Ghosthunters.
Ghosthunters
in the country.
For a year.
Yep.
And then at that Halloween, live Halloween show with Josh Gates at Fort Delaware.
Yep.
Was when they asked me to do the international. And I turned it down at first. I said, no, I don't want to leave save the United States.
Yeah, right.
I'm American. I want to stay here.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But they were like, no, Joe, they are interested in you. They think you'll be a good fit. You're ethnic, so you kind of fit in that crowd, and you want to investigate the world, don't you? I'm like, well, I would love to. He says, when are you going to get a chance to do something like this? Talk to your family.
Yeah.
I did, and I go home and talk to my family. Like, Joe, you get a chance of a lifetime here. You like this ghost hunting thing, and you seem to be really interested, and now they're offer you a spot to travel the world. Consider it. So I did, and I'm glad I took it because what an awesome experience.
So what were some of the investigations that stood out for you in the original, from the United States investigations? What were the ones that?
Probably the Stagecoach, I believe. It used to be a restaurant, and it had the coaches up on top, and there was a boy that died in there.
It's right in Rhode Island. That's the
in Chepachet, right?
No, in John Parada books comedy there sometimes.
Oh, down in North Kingstown?
It used to be the Coachman Inn, then it was the Stagecoach. Now it's
Dan's.
It's not Dan's Place, but it's Dan's Stagecoach Inn or Dan's
it's old time. I know what
you know. Because they still have the stagecoaches in the window.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we've done comedy at that place. You know, when you walk in, there's the fireplace, and then you walk up those stairs to the left. There's that big function room. We've done shows there. A friend of ours booked shows. The Carriage Inn. The Carriage Inn, it's called now. Yeah.
Because when we went, they still had the carriages up on the top.
Right.
And we would hear things, and that's when we heard the little boy. And we were like, whoa, that sounds like a little boy.
Right.
Jeez. Yeah.
Scott loves this stuff. Keep going.
The little kid voices are always the creepiest to me.
Yes,
when it's
little kids.
No. Those are always the ones that get me.
Yeah.
No, and I was thinking about the place that Brian Mulhern and Carla told us about in Chepachet. I thought that was like called the Stagecoach or the Stage.
There is another one right up on 44.
Yes. Yes.
I'm actually going to do some events there. The owner wants to start doing events there, so
yeah, because there's been some things reported happening in that place too.
To the customers,
yeah.
I'm trying to think of what place it is.
It's right on 44.
Yeah,
Tavern on the Main.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Tavern on the Main. Yeah.
I thought it was called something different, but
yeah.
I thought the same. I thought it was Stagecoach something, but I guess I was thinking of the other thing.
Yeah. No, it's New England has a lot of history when it comes to this stuff because obviously it was settled first in this country, so it's been around the longest. But what was the first place you went to with Taps?
I think we did a oh gosh, I want to say Exeter, a Lighthouse or something like that.
Okay.
Another
old town. In Rhode Island. I mean, there's a lot of history in I mean, Tom's talked about, I forgot, I just lost her name, but the witch who supposedly...
Vampire.
Oh, Mercy Brown.
Mercy Brown. Yeah. I know he's talked about it, and she's buried in Exeter, in the cemetery in Exeter.
Yeah, she is. Creepy place.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever been on an investigation anywhere where you truly felt uncomfortable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see if I could. There's quite a few.
I know one. I don't know where it was, but if you don't mention it, I'm going to mention it. So go ahead. I've done my research.
The most jarring for me probably was Castle Dragslum in Denmark, where we had to sleep in the castle and investigate. And I went in the dungeon with another investigator. Supposedly Mary Queen of Scots' husband died and was in prison down there and starved to death, I guess. Mm-hmm. So we were down there, small room, stone walls, dirt floor, just two investigators and a camera guy in the corner. We're pretty separated. We've been down there for an hour doing investigation. Nothing. No sounds, no voices, no weird feelings. So I started to joke around a little bit. I'm like, oh, God, it's dead around here. Let's go to the different part of the castle. So we started to go up the stairs. And as I was going up the stairs, I feel my arm burning and sting. I'm like, oh, it's stinging.
Yeah.
So he said, wait till we get to the top of the stairs. We'll turn on the lights and see what's going on. Well, sure enough, it was cold. So I had my jacket and a sweatshirt. And then we get to the top of the stairs. I pull up my sleeve and I turn my hand on and I had teeth marks. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4 tooth, and then another one, a space. So whatever bit me had like a missing tooth.
I remember that.
Not the bottom.
Yep.
And then I could feel the indent of the teeth. I remember that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
They're like, awesome, you need to go back down right now. And
and you're like, screw you.
I don't think so. Exactly. I gotta wrap my head around it.
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I had to go back down, and nothing happened. So
nothing happened after that.
That's crazy.
I was joking around saying it's dead around here.
Well, they showed you, didn't they?
Don't mess with those European ghosts because they get mean.
Now, how old was that castle roughly?
Oh God, Castle Dragstrom. I want to say the 15th century, maybe.
I was gonna.
16th century.
Yeah.
On that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was hay beds, and it was you hear the chains, the typical like it's ghost chains.
Yeah. Wow. Now, did you ever get scratched, or was it just that bite? Because I seem to remember an episode where you got scratched.
I've been scratched, been groped.
Really?
Well, that's not the worst.
Well, depends on who it is.
Maybe it was Mary, Queen of Scots.
Yeah, right. Or if it was her husband, who knows?
No judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, fingers. We were in a cell, and I think this was in Australia. We were at a cell area for criminals, and just a small brick, oval-shaped thing, just enough room for two people to face each other. I had my ass against the wall, and the guy is shooting from the entrance, and then I feel what feels like fingers on my ass. I'm like, why do I feel fingers on my ass? I'm like, something's like touching my back pockets, like it's looking for something. Like, I turn around, it's a brick wall. I'm like, so.
Well, it was a prison, so maybe it was a pickpocket in there that died. You know? Wow.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Now, do the same techniques for investigating work no matter where you are, as far as, no matter what the age is, like in a castle, or if you're in a 100-year-old home here, or if you're in another place? Does it matter? Is the techniques all the same no matter what you do? Like, and forgive my naivete and my ignorance. I'm new to all this, but like when they use like K2 meters and that things like that, you still use all that stuff in castles as you did when you were doing investigations here in Rhode Island?
Yeah, because some of the places were immense. Hamlet's Castle was immense. You get lost. You had to have somebody with you.
Right.
So the more equipment you had, the wider the coverage you could cover across the castle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you set a camera up, and you set it with a motion detector or shadow detector, and you leave that room. And then somebody else goes to another side with the thermal and whatever. And then they were running experiments with drainage of battery. And then we caught something actually moving the flashlight and draining the battery. Three things happen at once. It's rocking and generating something. So like, wow, it's just three things happen at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, and that's, see, I mean, the only investigation we were on was the one at the Payne house last month. And it wasn't the typical setup where you have like, cameras in each room and you're monitoring from outside. We were just kind of all taking turns going into a different part of the house and, trying to see what we could find on an EVP or a K2 meter. But I guess, when you're in those big, immense places, what was it? The shadow detector, is that the laser lights?
Yeah, it's a laser light that shoots across the floor. So if anything breaks that laser beam, it would make a sound. And at the same time, you can see what looks blacker than black darting across the field, erupting it and making it go off.
Right.
But the techniques are the same. For me, I was going with kind of the bare minimum. I like the AV recorder. I like the camera, and I like a thermal. But I don't need to use all of those. Sometimes your body is the senses, and then when you get in tuned and sit and listen, you can hear walking, you can hear whispering, because you're supposed to call out everything that you do. If you move your foot and you scratch it on the floor, that's my foot on some gravel. So you got to kind of explain everything as you go along.
Right. Which makes sense, because then when you're listening to hours and hours, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I heard something. And then you hear someone say, that was my foot on the floor. Right. So that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, it happened even when we were doing it. I don't want to give anything away, but, because we're going to talk about it when Ken's on. But yeah, there were a couple of times where we heard stuff and it was like, it was explainable. So we had to explain it. Tom would say, that's this. So that when he's going through the evidence, over the next month, he can kind of figure out, okay, that was that
yeah,
was what
it
that
was like marking it so you could remember what that
Right.
was in the
Exactly.
moment.
So you can
Yeah.
kind of envision everything. All right, so that's him doing that sound. That's that person burping. That's this person moving stuff. in his
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah.
So the more you eliminate, the narrower you can get and possibly hear things that you probably wouldn't have caught.
Right, right.
Well-
I think what was interesting that night too was I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel spooked out. I didn't
No.
have hairs up on my neck
No.
but there were a couple of times where the K2 meter it wasn't spiking up to the red, but it was, it was lighting up the second light when we would talk, and
Yeah,
I
there
think
were some moments in there that
we're going to
made
show
you
some
think
videos when we
made
do
you
it.
think, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It was some weird moments that we'll discuss later.
Yeah.
Now, in listening over the past 4 years of the stuff that Tom brought in that we've discussed with like Ken DaCosta, the EVPs are always the ones that kind of either spooked the hell out of me or made me think, did I actually hear something there? What is kind of like the craziest EVP that you caught that you were like, oh my God, I can't believe that I just caught this, or the one that you're like, that one kind of jolted me or caught me off guard?
Oh yeah,
because we've heard some ones from the Payne house that of the little girl there saying things that. I heard it on Ken's site of when them doing the ABCs with her, and stuff like that. That is just chilling when you hear that.
Yeah. For me, I do love listening for EVPs, and I find that kids are around a lot. I remember we did a TAPS case in Massachusetts, Leominster, Mass, I believe, and it was a same-sex couple, and they were having paranormal activity in the house, and they say that they see a child. Well, in the bedroom, we had set up a voice recorder. And then we caught in that room what sounds like little boys saying, "I'm cold." So
Really?
wow, that thing saying, "I'm cold."
That clearly? Did you hear it?
Yes, I'm cold. And
Wow.
it's crazy. And then we have another TAPS case where we did a library, and my brother Wellington and another TAPS member, Steve Mills, which you probably know, was going down to set up the video camera. And as they were going down the stairs, it was just the two guys, and there were no females on there. And you hear a woman say, "What's that?" Because they were setting up a camera.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting because we talked about that last year. We had Jason on last year, and I kept thinking back to the I know it's a horror movie, not real, but The Shining.
Yeah.
When he's like in the bar and it's really busy and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's not, he realizes it's not. And it made me think about, and we got into this discussion last year about quantum theory and string theory. And
I love that.
it does make you think like, yeah, who's to say like time doesn't fold on itself at some point or intersect.
Right.
And these parallel things intersect. And then all of a sudden they think you're the ghost, like they're like, what's that? But because they're living in their timeline and we're living in our timeline and somehow they intersect.
You see each other.
Right.
Like, whoa. Because I get that a lot sometimes where you can see or imagine flashes of time and going through it. We went to a place, again, another castle. We were walking towards the big library, and there was a light inside, and we were looking at it, and we were like, that light looks strange. It looks yellowish and odd looking. So the closer we got, we could see what looked like older furniture, period furniture, and people in period clothes dancing around the room.
Really?
Am I seeing something like that? They were like, well, it looked like a flash of that. It was just that quick. As we were walking through it, the way the light shined, it flashed like that old days.
Right. Almost like it was a window or a portal or something like that you could just see through. Right.
Crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, it's so interesting because again, it started off as a goof, to scare Scott and, talk about paranormal stuff. But the more we've talked about it, almost seems like it's more believable when you think of the science behind it.
Well,
like we don't understand everything in physics and all of this, and so maybe that is the explanation. You know, would you say?
I said sometimes you don't have to know. Sometimes you just got to accept it for what it is.
Because you saw it, right?
Right. And that's one of the things I appreciate when I talk to the investigators we've talked to over the years, like Jason, yourself, Tom Stewart, Ken DaCosta, is the way you guys approach this as a scientific study, not just a spooky thing. You know, you're trying to really do an investigation and gather evidence and approach it from that standpoint. Is you've made it interesting for a person like me. Like, you know, I've done a lot of crazy things in my life, you know, that would scare people as far as like adventure type of stuff. But that type of stuff was never a thing for me. I didn't watch scary movies growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
It was never my thing. But when I hear the way people approach investigations and the techniques they use and stuff like that from the scientific standpoint of it, it's interesting. It's really, really interesting.
I think the other thing that we learned from everyone that we've had, that we've spoken to and met, is to take it from a point of respect.
Yes.
You know,
I've noticed that
I've
a lot.
never, you know, there's been one paranormal group, and we've already shit on them a bunch of times, so I won't bring them up. You know, come at me, bro.
Yeah,
you know,
I figured.
There were many out there.
yeah, but one that made it on TV and is still on. So, but I think, you know, what I've learned is by coming at it with a sense of respect. Like Ken said it last year when he was on. He goes, listen, think about it. How would you feel if someone just walked in your house and you're living here and someone goes, come at me, bro, or, you know, come on, move something, do this, you know? Of course you're going to be like, screw you, you know?
Or want to punch him in the face.
Or want to punch him, or possess him,
exactly.
or possess him in every episode. That could happen, right? Because that's realistic. But I think by taking a line of respect, you get more out of it, you know? And I noticed that when we went to the Payne house, even though neither of us had any experience in investigating, I mimicked what I learned.
I followed
from
the lead.
guys like you, from guys like Jason, from guys like Tom.
Yep.
Go and Ken, going in with that, you know, hey, you don't have to do anything. If you want, come near this meter. If you come near this light, you can make more lights light up. You know, like talking to them like, hey, thank you for letting me in your home.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking time with us tonight.
Yeah.
You know.
After all, they're people without a body.
Yes.
Right.
They were alive. They were a human being that lived and breathed.
And they may have gone through trauma.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, they may have gone through trauma, and that's why they're in this situation.
Yeah.
So and those are the things that I've learned over the last 4 years of getting into this that I've appreciated, is looking at it from that angle instead of, you know, all the spooky shit. Yeah. You know, which has made it a lot more interesting.
It's
now,
multifaceted.
What's that?
It's multifaceted, the paranormal.
It is. There's so many different ways of looking at it. Like last year when you and Jason got into the whole different timelines that are overlapping each other and everything like that, all of a sudden I was like, this is like, you know,
physics class.
Yeah, physics. And I didn't do well in physics. You know, this is too much. I had Neil deGrasse Tyson in here with me going over all these different timelines, and I'm like, it became too much. Now, I don't know if you know, maybe you probably do, but what is the oldest place when you were going through Europe? What was the oldest place that you guys investigated?
Oh my gosh.
Like that castle in Denmark was, you said, 15th century. 15th. Anything older than that?
Yes, down in the Peru area. And
really?
Yes. 12th century Mayans.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it predates a lot of
a lot of the places, but these monuments are huge, and we actually caught what sounded like a woman going down this little shaft thing. We saw something white, and up in Peru, it's crazy.
Did you guys ever go to Israel?
No.
That would have been interesting.
Yes.
Right?
we were supposed to go to Egypt.
Yeah.
But when we were supposed to go, I guess some bombings happened, and they canceled.
Ah,
Yeah.
It's always one in every crowd to ruin it for everybody.
Yep.
That happened twice. We were supposed to go to
Really?
China, and that didn't happen.
Wow. Yeah, because that would have been old.
You got to think that some of these places, like you mentioned, Mayan temples and places like that, they did human sacrifices and different things like that. There's so many things that happen that there's got to be some kind of activity in these places.
They were brutal.
Right.
They would kill the people and play soccer with their heads.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever go? Well, I don't know if this has anything to do with paranormal. Isn't there like an island of dolls?
Proveglia Island.
What was it?
Proveglia Island in Italy. It's an island of dolls.
Yeah, there's all like dolls on it, right?
Hanging from trees. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't go there.
No, that's Scott. Scott's booked a vacation there next year.
Everywhere, and the eyes move, and you hear voices, and people tell me some horrific stories.
Oh, that's what I heard. I couldn't remember if you guys had gone there or if Josh Gates had gone there on Destination.
No,
he went there on Destination Truth, right?
Yes, he did, yeah.
Wow.
And he said he swears the dolls' heads move and their eyes blink and wink at you.
Wow.
Yeah. Nope.
I am going to work on getting Josh Gates next year.
Nope.
Just to talk about that island.
There's another island in Italy near Venice that for a while they used it as like a sanitarium and a mental hospital and everything. Now it's mostly abandoned. That they say there's a ton of activity on
there,
and it's one of those places that the public's not allowed to visit or anything.
Wow.
And they said because of some weird activity that has happened on the island over the years and stuff like that, supposedly groups have gone there and people go missing and all this other stuff. And
Now, were you on the show during because I think the thing that made me the biggest fan of the show and the biggest believer, because I just could not explain this, were you on the Eastern State Penitentiary investigation when that black mass came towards the camera and then went away? And I'm like, I don't know what that is. That's not pixelation. It looked like something was running towards the camera and then just backed off.
All in a cloak. I see sneakers. I'm like, I don't know. I do see a foot, but it's dusty.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's sneakers or if it's part of the apparition, but it looked like almost like an octopus the way it acted.
Right. Yeah.
Were you there, Joe?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
No.
The episode that got me was the in Florida, the lighthouse.
Oh yeah,
in
St. Augustine
Lighthouse.
He peeked over.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And then ran up the stairs and peeked over again.
And it was down below them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see him on the stairs because the stairs are like holes in it. You can see
right.
Quick shadow movements going, darting, and dropping that bucket.
Right.
That was crazy.
That was crazy too. Now, did you guys? I seem to remember on International, you guys went to Dracula's Castle, didn't you?
Yes. I think we may have gone twice.
Where is
the first
actual Dracula's Castle? Where is it?
It's in Romania, right?
It's in Romania.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't go to that one.
Oh, okay.
But they said that one it was just a shell. It was just a wall, and it really wasn't much left of it.
You didn't go to that one. Where'd you go? His summer home?
Yeah.
Supposedly Dracula's Castle.
Wow.
It might have been near Romania.
Yeah.
But it was, again, not much there. Just shell.
It was just a shell. It wasn't a full castle with rooms or anything like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
We did a lot of things outside. It was like, well, there's really nothing to do because everything's got holes in it.
There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do inside.
Everything.
Right. Wow. So what would be the what was your favorite investigation?
I want to say probably the ATM cave in Belize.
The what?
Where it turned into an adventure. We had to hike into the jungle for 2 miles. We had to have the equipment brought in on donkeys and horses and other Sherpas. climbing in and out of jungle and trying not to touch anything that would kill you.
It sounds like
wearing-
romancing the stone.
Yeah.
Wearing gaiters and
Oh, that's a cute little lizard. Yeah, don't touch it. It'll kill you.
What a beautiful purple flower. Yeah, it's poisonous.
yeah. I remember climbing and I had my hand on the ledge and they were like, "Joe, don't move your hand because there's a snake."
Jeez.
But then going into the cave, you had to go down into a ravine and you had to swim 25 feet into the cave with all your gear on.
Wow.
Climb out, and then you had to spelunk, squeeze into crevices, climb on the
Right.
rocks. That was really cool. And up to your neck in water, and then you see all these stalactites and all these caves. It's awesome.
Yeah,
And
unless of course you're claustrophobic and then you're shitting your pants the whole
I
time.
was just going to say cool and awesome are not two words I'd use for.
Well, but some parts were claustrophobic,
Yeah.
squeezing in. But then it opens up to this big cavern where it's like a football field inside.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did you get any evidence in there?
They got some EVPs, but I wanted to see what was called the Crystal Maiden because at the end of the 2-mile tunnel, there was a skeleton that crystallized, and it looks like crystals that form
Really?
on the bones. And you shine lights on it, and it kind of shimmers.
Sparkles.
Sparkles. Yeah, it's crazy. You had to take your shoes off because there was still a lot of pottery, and it was still a place that they were digging. So you had to be very, very careful. You couldn't.
So in other words, you had to swim in there, but at some point in history, someone lived in there.
Yes.
Wow.
That's an Indiana Jones movie. He just did.
No shit.
Like sacrifices. They
Right.
sacrificed and killed in there.
Well, and I mean, a lot could have happened in 1,000 years. So maybe you didn't have to swim in. Maybe you could have walked in back then, but then the cave flooded. But
Yeah.
imagine that. How the hell does someone find that
Yeah, I
for
stumbled
the
on-
first time? Like, hey, I got a hunch. Let's swim, and I hopefully there's enough. There's air pockets on the way.
Bruce Wayne found it.
Yeah,
Trying to
right?
build a new Batcave.
Crazy.
Right? But it was cool. It was kind of like an adventure show at that point. I kind of
Yeah.
liked it a little bit.
It makes you wonder how much stuff is still hidden
That
Yes.
people
that people
no
haven't
idea.
discovered
Yeah.
yet. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done many things that people would like to do. Like somebody would like to do that as a one-off. That would be like one thing in their life.
You
that
got
would
to
be
do
like,
it
is
for a
amazing.
couple of years,
and that's
right.
one of the things you've got to do.
Very fortunate, very blessed. I
Yeah,
feel.
no, definitely. Aren't you glad that like you said at first you said no, and then you ended up saying yes, and you got to go out and see all these amazing
I loved
places,
it, every minute of it.
as you should, as you should.
I would have.
Now, do you have any places on your bucket list as an investigator that you said, if I have ever the chance, I would love to go check this place out, investigate this place, or, I've heard this country has some cool places to check out that would be cool to investigate. Anything on your bucket list?
Oh yeah. There's still quite a few. Believe it or not, I've never been to Florida.
Really?
Yeah, so I would like to go to St. Augustine's. I've never been there or investigated anywhere in Florida.
Yeah.
I've never been to the Stanley in Colorado.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been to Mount Washington, but I always wanted to go to the Stanley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get anything at the Mount Washington hotel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that when they said, "Princess, where are you?"
Oh, that's
Are you
right.
here? Of course I'm here. Where are you?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, of course I'm here. Where are you?
Yep.
So
I'm
she's
leaving. That's where I'm going.
I'll tell you, I stayed at that hotel once for a business meeting, and we ended up getting snowed in. We were supposed to be there for 2 days. We ended up being there for 4 days because we got so much snow. It was like in February or something. And let me tell you, you go down to that bar downstairs in it looked like the Cavern Club over in England. It was just, all stone walls and ceilings, and it was creepy in there, and
Yeah.
and it was full of people and music and stuff like that. I can only imagine
So a lot of little
setting up.
passageways.
There's what? A lot of passageways.
Yeah, a lot of little passageways in those spots.
Wow. Yeah, that's an old place. That would be a cool place to go.
All right.
So, what have you been doing now since obviously the show? How long ago did the international end?
I think the last thing we filmed was in 2012, I say.
Okay, so it's
We
been
went
like
to
10
Canada.
years.
I think it was 2012, and that brought us through 2015. I think when it, started to not air as much.
Yeah. Okay. And so what have you been doing since then? Are you just doing paranormal stuff, or did you go back to the computer store, or like are you doing something totally different?
Nope. For a while there wasn't anything because of COVID and stuff.
Right.
I was actually working at a metal recycling plant as a weigh station. The trucks would come in, and I would
Oh yeah.
weigh the trucks. And I was actually on the car crushing team too. So we would go out and get cars and crush the cars and
Yep.
do all that kind of stuff. So I did that for a while, and still kept investigating here and there and doing events.
Yeah.
But then once COVID hit, it got died. Nothing was happening. But then things started to change where in the paranormal field for myself, I feel that I'm growing.
Uh-huh.
And then I need to find other venues of the paranormal, such as metaphysical readings, mediums.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. I see things and I get imagery. And my sister and I are doing an event in Mohican Sun on October 28th or 29th.
Okay.
The Warren's Paracon. So we're doing that, and we're doing our metaphysical readings there. My sister has got some amazing abilities. She's able to do psychometry, tactile touch. She reads an object from a stranger and don't tell her anything, and she'll get things.
Really?
She's able to remote view. She finds things for people. She tells
Really?
them,
So if something's lost, she can
kind of hone in on it.
Yep.
She tells people in your house, you go down the hallway, you go down here, here's a picture of this. You go down the other hallway, there's that right there. And they look at you like, how do you know?
Wow. Is this your sister that was on the investigation with you that night?
Yes.
At Payne House? Wow.
Yes.
Now, do you guys have like or do you have websites or any place where people can look up this information?
She just started. She has a Facebook page.
Okay.
And she's got her business cards, and she's doing readings for people. And she goes to her salon. And
well, how can people find her, Joe? Because we'll put it up on the show notes.
Right on Facebook.
Okay.
Christine Downs is her name.
What is it?
Christine Downs.
Christine Downs.
Christine Downs.
Yes.
DOWNES, correct?
Yeah, you'll see. If you go to my page, you'll see her.
Okay.
Okay.
All her videos are up, and she's posting her readings and the pictures that she draws. She sketches, and she sketches dead people and other things.
Has she done anything with like missing persons, or is that out of her?
She's interested in it, but I think that might be an avenue where she should maybe not go down at this point.
Yeah,
since she's learning, because all that's negative. All that.
Yeah, well, it's got to be strange because just because you have an ability doesn't mean you know what the full potential of it is or how to use it.
Well, not only that, but it's such a delicate matter where it's all violence. Who wants to sit there and get all flashes of violent deaths? And,
yeah.
So it's hard unless it's something that she feels that she needs to do. Then maybe she can't do it once or twice. Yeah. But as for doing it as I don't recommend it.
Yeah. It's got to take a toll on people. Yeah. So if that's all you're dealing with is
help finding dead people tied up and murdered. That's no way to live. You're gonna live in fear. You're gonna look at people accentuate the positives.
She'd rather find
people get in touch with their loved ones, knowing that they're okay, pass messages on to people, that kind of thing.
Well, so has she done any like sessions where she is able to sit down with someone and say, who's so and so, and they're like, oh my god, that's my mom,
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
And that's a good thing, helping people.
What'd you say?
She did it today. She was getting her nails done.
Did she really?
Yeah, and people were there and they were asking her, and then she said, all right, who's this, and what's this man? And she was giving readings.
Wow.
You know what? And that's the good side of it, is helping people find peace with things.
That's what she's here to do. That's what we're here to do, I believe.
Right.
People get in touch with the people who passed, because people who passed, they got they got things to work out. They gotta,
Yeah.
Right.
they know that you're suffering and that you miss them, so they want to come back and support you and nurture you, and show you signs that yes, they are still around and watching over you.
Right.
That kind of thing. Those are the kind of messages that we want to get across and help people with.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome, Joe.
That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome, man. Not bad for a guy that was selling computers. Talk to the right person.
Yeah, no shit.
And then the next thing you know, you're in Dracula's castle.
Yeah. Or outside of Dracula's castle.
Or outside of Dracula's castle. But
It's kind of a coming to America story, because I attribute it to my father.
Yep.
My father didn't come to this country when he was 17, joined the war, fought in World War II, got a Purple Heart, started his own business, raised 11 children.
11 kids. Wow.
And,
what a story.
a very popular restaurant. We had 2 restaurants at one time. And then, my father, I believe, had abilities. He used to see things and
Really?
say things. So I think it ran in the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's getting stronger as I get older.
As you get older, it's
my sister Chris.
Well, like you said, culturally, it was one of those things that you said in the beginning, where just leave it alone. If you don't bother
It'll go
them,
away.
They won't bother us. It'll go away. But you kind of embraced it, and you weren't the come at me, bro.
Yeah.
You approached it scientifically. You approached it respectfully, and you and your sister come at it from a different aspect, and that's why you've been able to embrace it and have these amazing adventures where you're spelunking in caves.
Yeah, right.
And go into these amazing places in Europe and everything like that. And, and in a lot of ways helping people resolve these issues of unexplained things that are happening in their lives.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Whenever a medium gives readings and somebody ends up crying, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's you did a great job for that person.
right.
They understand and they're relieved. that they got this message.
Right.
And they're bawling because they're tears of joy.
It's a cathartic cry.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a healing. It's a healing moment.
Exactly.
For them. So, Joe, absolutely amazing, man.
That's awesome.
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I would, even though I would be shitting my pants, I would be honored one day to be on an investigation with you.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
scary. It really is scary.
Oh, I could tell, because if something ever bit me, investigation Scottober has ended. We're never doing another episode again.
You ever see when Scooby and Shaggy go like levitate in midair and start
and
running?
their feet are running before they take off?
That'd be Scott.
That would be me. Over.
That's funny. Yeah, exactly.
But thank you so much for taking some time, man. That was absolutely amazing.
We really appreciate it, and we hope we can be on an investigation with you. I know Scott is, we broke his cherry by getting on the Payne House investigation.
I do want to do another one. Ken
has reached out to him because Scott books a old vaudeville theater in Connecticut.
It's over 120 years old,
and it's I don't know if you've ever heard of the Bradley Playhouse in Putnam, Connecticut, but it's paranormal. There have been paranormal things that have gone on there, so we're going to do an investigation there.
We're putting something together to do a
and we're working on getting Scott up to the Conjuring House. We're working on it, although I don't know. Last week we had Tom Stewart and Satori and Cody on, and they went up to there was an investigation going on at the Conjuring House later on that night, and Tom said that he got in on the investigation, and he said it was weird. He goes, jiggling handles. He said, I felt something go through me. He said it was a crazy night. So from what I understand, if Satori and Cody are on an investigation, shit happens. So
they're a magnet. I know them very, very well. And what they do is kind of amazing. When they bring both my parents through at the Payne House, that's
really
to me. And to get the message that they're proud of us and that it's okay and don't give up, that kind of thing.
That's awesome.
From the other side.
That's amazing.
I love Cody and Satori, but I'm not going on an investigation with them.
Yeah, you are. They even said it. They said, we'll probably freak you out, but you'll have a great investigation.
Oh, my God.
It's going to be fun.
But
no, listen.
That house itself is very scary. I'm actually nervous going there.
Really?
Yeah. There's something in there. I believe that something in that house did something to Andrea's mother. It drained her. Her whole energy.
Really?
Wrinkly. She's withdrawn. Something bad happened to that woman in that.
Really? It's funny that you say that too, because our next episode.
Don't tell me that right now.
Our next episode, we're interviewing Andrea, so it's going to be pretty interesting to hear these stories.
Timing is everything.
Yeah, I know, huh?
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, we can't thank you enough for being on with us,
it was awesome.
and we do hope to see you on another investigation.
Definitely,
we'll
Joe.
definitely be back at the Payne House. When they start the investigations up next year.
Cool.
And hopefully we'll get to see you on there. And if I see you at a gas station this time, I'm going to flip a Yui and I'm going to come and gas up next to you.
This time I will remember.
I'll pull a gas can out of my trunk. I'm going to carry a gas can. Oh, hey, Joe. Didn't see you there. No, thanks so much, Joe. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of the night.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on. And goodbye, everybody. Take care.
All right. We'll see
Thanks,
you.
Joe.
And that was Joe Chin. That was awesome. What a
he
down-to-earth, awesome
spelunks
guy.
into a cave
to
do an investigation that
Crazy.
had a skeleton that crystallized.
Yeah.
What?
How cool is that?
And I
had the crystal skull. I'm telling you, I'm 2 for 2 this month.
You are.
Last
Nailed
week
it.
I had the Angel's Envy, and we were talking about that angel tree topper that they brought in.
The creepiest one.
Yeah,
if
that's
you haven't
awesome.
listened to last week's episode with
Cody and
Despians and Satori Hawes from the paranormal couple from the Paranormal Museum, they told one of the artifacts or items that they brought in was one of the creepiest stories I have ever
Go back
heard.
and listen to that.
And Ace pairing Angel's Envy bourbon with their stories was dead on.
And how
I hate to use dead on. He nailed it. Let's put it that way.
And now tonight, I get Crystal Head vodka,
and he
talks about a crystallized skeleton. This shit is
Dude.
paranormal, man. Wait until you see what we drink with Andrea.
I'm not sleeping.
You're not sleeping. I know. That's going to be awesome.
But I hope you guys enjoyed that, Joe. What a nice guy.
Yep.
What a great storyteller. He's been to some amazing places. So just great stuff.
And had amazing experiences.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted him to talk about, because I remember that episode when he got scratched. I also remember when he got bit. That was a really crazy episode.
And that was my introduction to Joe. The first night I met him, he tells me the biting story. Fantastic. Love it.
Yeah, we're at the Payne House and he tells you about it. I go, we got to get Joe on and talk about that.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys enjoy Scott-tober as much as Ace does.
Yeah, I love it. I don't know about Scott. But I
know
love it.
it's very interesting. Yeah. I do enjoy the stories. I do enjoy talking to these guys because one thing I will say about everybody we have on, they are awesome people.
Yeah,
awesome people.
We're very, very lucky to have them. So listen, folks, if you enjoyed tonight's episode, tell a friend about us. Download it, subscribe, do all that stuff, and give us a 5-star written review, and then tune in next week because we've got Andrea Perrone, who was the oldest daughter from the Conjuring house, and she's going to tell us. When we met her last year, she kind of said, they took some liberties with the Conjuring movie, and she said, my house was scary enough without that
the liberties
stuff.
they took.
So
this could be the final episode that breaks me. This could be the episode
I
that
can't
breaks
wait.
me.
It's going to be great. So listen, folks, tune in. And other than that, we will talk to you
next week.